Aloha, Sutra Souls. Sutra 5, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. I'll chant first, and then we'll chant together. Vrittayaha, Panchatayaha, Klishta, Klishta. I'll break it down. Vrittayaha, Panchatayaha, Klishta, Klishta. Together. Vrittayaha, Panchatayaha, Klishta, Klishta. Vrittayaha, Panchatayaha, Klishta, Klishta. Vrittayaha, Panchatayaha, Klishta, Klishta. So from the sutras 1 through 4, we are learning that we confuse our thoughts or who we are, and we are our minds, and we're realizing very slowly that we can't control our minds control us. And Patanjali helps us with this and comes into the state where we can still the mind, where we can understand who we truly are without these knee-jerk reactions and these emotional outbursts that we have with life sometimes. Vrittayaha, Panchatayaha, Klishta, Klishta. Remember that Patanjali was a psychologist, and so instead of leaving us guessing what he means and trying to assimilate, which of course is what we do, is on what he means, but he goes into detail. This is a compilation, this is a concise, these phrases. Every word means something, and the way it's written, the way it's phrased means something, so we can't just get a gist of it and feel like we understand. And so with this one, he tells us where we think, oh yes, stilling the mind, all of these thoughts we have, that's not possible for me to be able to be in my own true self and allow myself to be in that expansion of letting go. It's really wonderful, isn't it, how we expand, and with that we can let go. And Patanjali comes back here and says, it is not easy, but let's just define these thoughts we have. There are 2 categories. Pancha, there are 5 in each. Some are painful, klista, and some are not so painful, aklista. And so there are 2 categories, 5 in each. Some are not painful, but can become painful. And then the other ones are painful. Now the painful ones, of course, we always want to know first, right? They're in the 2nd chapter. The 2nd chapter is the sadhana pada, the 2nd chapter, and that's the practice. And so this is, the 1st chapter is more for the student that is intensely interested, or for the most advanced spiritually. And that's why some of this, it's called the Samadi pada, that we are really stretched on able to have that challenge of understanding and having the patience to understand. But he leads us along this journey, and if we keep exploring, putting one foot in front of the other, we can gradually understand that we don't truly understand, but with our spiritual knowledge as it grows, because of our intensity, we will be able to. So with this one there are 2 categories of thought patterns, 5 in each, 5 painful, and 5 that are not so painful, but that can become painful. And with the next sutras we go into, he breaks those down, and we'll be breaking those down. Basically, when I'm saying is they're not painful, but can become painful, how is that? There are different ways to look at this, but one is to give you an example of loving somebody. Let's say our first boyfriend. We're just so head over heels, love at first sight. Maybe it stays that way forever. But a lot of times we find that that first love, or that love as it comes later, where it's just all overwhelming, encapsulating of everything you thought, heard and dreamed of, you end up disliking this person. We find out more about them, where they meant so much to us and so much pleasure, then causes us pain, because we see the other side of them, or how we interact with them, it's not working. And a lot of times when something is not painful, if it's selfless, then it can't really become painful, because it's not about us, it's a selfless thing. But sometimes, especially with love, it becomes selfish. It becomes what they can do for me. We probably don't think about that in that way. But sometimes a lot of what brings us pleasure. For instance, I would love my grandson to be here, or my grandchildren, my granddaughter, all the time. And it would be in my best interest, and maybe not in theirs, to be on an island or to be somewhere where they are in a different life, different, which is good for them in their way. So we'll explore that, and the different, the 5 that are not painful, that can become painful. And so we'll chant Om together. And this is the 5th sutra of the 1st chapter. Vrittayaha, Panchatayaha, Klishta, Aklishta as the non-painful, the klishas, or the kleshas, we'll be discussing in chapter 2. Namaste.